Ladies and gentlemen, we're here live. My name is Whitcam, and you're watching an interesting show called Ask Guy. A show where every show is a different show, and we're trying to make these shows because we're trying to be famous, basically. You know what I mean? Anyway, so we're going to talk about different topics. Today's topic is very interesting. It's a really simple one. It's called beauty privilege. I like to coin that myself. I don't know if anyone's ever done that. But anyway, it's called beauty privilege. It's about people that are really, attractive and all, and and they enjoy life in a way that other people don't. So today we've got Davion, we've got Ting, we've got Sam, we've got Yvette, and we've got Corey. How you guys doing today?
You keep rubbing that head, I'm going to give you ask for 3 wishes.
Yes, that's the move right now.
Really, that's
he's doing the wax on, wax off motion.
All right, so we're going to start out with beauty privilege. So, as we always do, the guys on the show, we say our 2 cents, and the women, you guys say if you agree or disagree. So, Corey, what do you think about beauty privilege? What's your take on it?
I think it's a real thing. I think that we do have standards of beauty, just like how we have a class system. I think the more appealing you are as a person, the more you can probably achieve a level of success in society that most people can't because of beauty.
All right. And Davion?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so whatever beauty is...
That doesn't really answer the question, man. It doesn't really, Alright, moving right along.
I'm trying to be...
I don't know what you're trying to do.
I don't know. I'm confused myself.
So anyway, ladies, I think beauty privilege is real. I think it's a thing. I think that there's a lot of people that, get over because what they look like, and I think society is full of crap, because basically we all say I don't want to be treated like an object, but we constantly treat people like an object all the time. What is your take? Let's start with Yvette, Miss Positivity Online, and let's do something different this time. Yvette, say introduce yourself and say your social media, and then answer that right there.
Okay, sounds good. Well, my name is Yvette Morales, and my Instagram page is Yvette Mary Morales. But to answer your question, I think that there is a privilege. There are loopholes to those privileges, but in essence, there is. I mean, nobody's gonna want to stare at something they don't think is pretty, even when it comes to children. They're more attracted to prettier things than they are to not prettier things, or brighter things than darker things. And it's something that I think our society and culture has really embedded into us.
Is someone doing laundry, or what's that sound?
Well, I hear it.
Oh, that might be me. Sorry.
Of course it'll be the ballman. All right.
I know. I'm trying to figure out, is it a fan so that you're not sweating?
Yeah, what's going on there? Maybe that's the reason you keep rubbing your head in there.
It's my mystery house. You never know what's going on in here, so whatever you think is happening, it's
probably happening, yeah. All right, Sam Eats Plants, our resident big potato head over there. Tell everyone your social media. I think I just did, actually. And what do you think about beauty privilege?
That's my Instagram is SamEatsPlants_, and my name is Samantha, and I'm managing partner of Urban Vegan.
Hey, that's a little bit too much there. No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
You gotta pay me. You gotta pay me for a plug. Come on, let's do it.
Right.
So,
pretty privilege. So, yes, there's a privilege in aesthetic, and aesthetic also changes over time. And if you look at how people contour their body surgically, they all kind of start looking the same because we decide an aesthetic over time that looks one way now and looked a different way in the 50s and a different way in the 1910s, right? But as along with pretty privilege, there's privilege in a lot of things. There's privilege in maledom, in femaledom. There's privilege in being the tiny girl. There's privilege in being the tall guy. There's privilege in being a brainiac. There's privilege in knowing a lot about movies. And so what I think that this world and this society can really show us is we all need to acknowledge where our privileges is in this game of life, tap into whatever all our privileges are and work that, because along with those privileges come disadvantages for those same things. There's disadvantages for being smart, disadvantages for being pretty, disadvantages in being male, disadvantages of being female, etc., etc. So it exists, it's great, and not great, along with all.
I think that was brilliant. My goodness, all that brain. That's amazing. All right, I got a little crush. All right, now move on. All right, Ting, what would you say about privilege there? What's your thing on privilege? Beauty privilege specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Samantha. Like, first of all, actually, okay, also, hi, my name is Ting. My Instagram is at Tingu, Tinguu. I got carried away because that was a great answer from Samantha. I totally agree. Everyone is impacted from implicit bias, whether they want to admit it or not. Like, all of us agree that beauty privilege is a privilege and it exists. And it's one of like the biggest privileges you could probably have when it comes to like surviving in a work world or a world where we have to interact a lot in person. That being said, I also think like beauty as an idea, there's like different ways that people are attractive. And I find, people who are really charismatic are super attractive. I think there's just so many different facets to like this topic, and I don't know, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts.
It's interesting because
I just ranted a bit.
My whole life I've been, people think I'm so attractive, and ladies, they don't know how to control themselves, when they're around me, and I understand what you're saying. It's really a heavy world on my shoulders there. So let's look at this. We talk about like celebrities all the time, and politicians, and the classic, I'm famous and I'm older and I got the young chick, or that thing, that whole thing. Do you guys feel that like beauty privilege is unfair, or is it just a thing and it is what it is? We'll start out with the gentleman first. What do you think about it? Because I mean, it's a thing, I'll give you a little example when I go into it. For instance, if a man is working on fries, a woman must say, "Hey, he's cute," but Now, if a woman is working on fries at McDonald's or something like that, hey, I'll change her life. Come on, I'll take care of you. You want your hair done? You want your nails done? I mean, gentlemen, do you find that unfair? Do you think it is what it is? What's your take on that?
It is what it is. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the way you said that. I was thinking how what's the kid? Was it Mia Khalifa got famous when she became a porn star? So it was like she was working at a fast food, and a porn director came up and said, "Yo, I want you in my movie." And all of a sudden, she just blew up. And now she's not doing porn, but
Oh, well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, like, for instance, I mean, you could be pretty and life will happen for you. Well, a man can't do that. Corey, I mean, what's your take on it?
I mean, now we're getting to like the whole sexist thing. Like,
let's do it. That's what we're here for, man. It pays the bills, the ratings. This is too calm. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm bald and I put on a wig and people are like, "Oh man, that's weird. Like, why are you doing that?" It's like really questionable. But if a woman puts on like obviously makeup or gets some type of surgery done to enhance her look, you're like, oh, do you? As long as you feel pretty, it's cool. I think there is a double standard in that sentiment. But in essence, I think it is what it is. If you're born this way, you can't really change that. But an ugly guy who has a lot of money can still be appealing. I mean, you can go like so many different directions in that question. I don't know.
Well, also you gotta look at it this way: guys can get cosmetic surgery. You know that, right?
Right, but it's not as accepted. Like
That's so not true. That's just so far from reality.
What? The cosmetic or?
Yeah, like I definitely know as many men who get cosmetic surgery and are closeted about it than like as women. And besides that, like it doesn't even matter. Like I feel like beauty privilege definitely goes both ways. Like
Yeah.
I get the male view, but like everyone who is attractive gets benefits. And like you can think of every male actor as examples of this. Like they were found not just because of their acting talent. Like, you know, I totally don't see how gender plays into this like specific topic.
because those are normal people. When you look at people who are of that status, they're like celebrities, so they're expected to do those things. Whereas a normal person, if I work at CBS or McDonald's, and I know some guys do get their eyebrows done. Some guys do go to get manicures and pedicures. I used to do that as a massage therapist, but I've never had those enhancements. Like I've never had lip enhancements or some people do, but a lot of those closeted guys, like you were talking about, are closeted for a reason, because if they do come out, how would they be accepted? I think right now in today's society, because it would be more accepted. Man, you guys are cringing, like looking at me like,
yeah.
Because I'm about to just bring up the fact of guys losing their hair is such a pivotal moment. So you either just go bald or you try to cover it up the entire time, hoping that it grows back. I think there is a percentage, and I think it's like 64% of males that start losing their hair already are searching on ways to grow it back, trying to get surgery, trying to figure out if they can fund it. So like just that alone, all males are eventually going to go bald. So that's always a concern.
not all, but like there's a good percentage, but that's another thing like that.
Wait.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I said wait. That was rude. Go ahead.
Some of the men that I know with a full head of hair keep it because their woman likes it, or because they seem more attractive like that. There are some attractive bald men out there who are naturally bald. I am of that sentiment. Like I'm 36, but I don't have hair, so I'm comfortable with it. I think it looks good for me. There are a lot of men who are insecure about it because maybe they're 26 or maybe they're 46, and that's just a huge change that they can't get over. So I think now we're getting into like personal self-esteem issues, how you see yourself, not how society sees you. But over essence, I think for men, there's a lot less that we can do naturally that women do naturally that would be acceptable.
All right, so there's a thing that we have to like think about. One of the things that kind of happens as decades go on is we start shifting what our aesthetic is and what is necessary. So in the 90s, when I was a teenager, there were not like all of these women getting like butt implants and butt injections, right? Somewhere, somehow, it finally became some type of like cultural ideal to have this type of shape, and that kind of inflated it. But like I said, with all the aesthetic privileges, there's always a negative. You brought up Tingu. You brought up celebrities and like male actors, and you know what they look like and what they can get. We all, if we're into movies, we all see that there are mediocre actors, male or female, that can get great roles and have long-lasting careers because they look a certain way. But their downfall is when their face starts to change. There are character actors. If you look at Philip Seymour Hoffman, if you look at people like Paul Giamatti. These people don't have to do anything because their privilege is their talent. And in their talent, what they can have is longevity in their truthness within their career. And so when we talk about aesthetics, we're talking about movies right now, but I'm telling you, this infiltrates and penetrates so many other avenues and so many other careers. Aesthetics, you have to always understand that they're going to fall and they're going to change. And you have to decide as you go forward in this life and what has been normal to you, how people will start to receive you differently and what that will do to your own mind and to how you perceive yourself when people start changing how they perceive you. And I think that's a big downfall for falling into the general aesthetically optimal of any culture. Eventually it changes, and when people change how they interact with you, it is almost soul crushing. So we have to understand, like, sometimes, I think all of us are probably under the age of 40, maybe not, maybe. Are we all under 40?
We're under. I'm under 40. That's
Who's gonna answer that question?
I'm under 40.
I already said I'm 36, so yeah, I'm under 40.
Okay, we'll say we're in general under-ish 40, right? Well, so we're also coming from it in different places. Like, our aesthetics have kind of changed from like what we were used to when we're 20 to 25. Our aesthetics are already changing. When you get to a certain other place, if you didn't cultivate your other privileges, you will feel the extreme disadvantage for relying on the aesthetic too much or too greatly. I also will say I heard a great talk with Salma Hayek and Oprah, where Salma Hayek was talking about being a pretty young girl in Mexico and the disadvantages of navigating how men will now perceive you. Grown men over 40 will perceive you as a 12-year-old walking around. And so we also should acknowledge what those negatives are in having the aesthetic that most people enjoy to look at.
It's interesting what you bring up too, because there's a few people online and they talk about the expiration date of beauty privilege. For instance, women, let's just be real, preteen, teenage years, 20s, you guys control it. Who runs the world? Girls. No, really. No, think about it. But post 30, things tend to change. And it becomes a man's world. You know what I mean? As far as dating and everything like that, men really they really got it going under control. And we look better and better as the older we get. Or at least that's what we brainwashed you guys to believe. It is what it is, right? So
that's why they couldn't hit our primes then.
Yeah. So when you think about that, like, is that just a natural thing? Is it all just a game? I think it's interesting. I think there is an expiration date, and you do have to invest in more things going on, because you will change. You will not have that head of hair forever. You might not always be a size whatever it is, and it kind of sucks people that get caught out there, and then they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't do the things that I want to do. I mean, how many people model and they realize that, oh my goodness, my time is done. Or even dancers can't do that forever, you know what I mean? Ting, I see your eyes moving around. You disagree with any of that?
Yeah, I disagree with it. I just think that beauty, as I said earlier, like, it's not aesthetic. I really think that people who are confident, like, I find myself attracted to older people because I find them more confident and they know themselves better. And to me, that's very beautiful. Like, I think it's very attractive when people know their shit, know who am I allowed to say that? Know who they are. Like, that, again, that to me is like a stronger piece of beauty. And like, again, like, appearance is just such a small facet of what makes people attractive.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because that makes a lot of sense. And this is where the individual perception, what you think and everything. Because think of it this way: you just went in wait a minute, hold on, Damian. I'm just saying you just went into something that, hey, here's something that lasts forever. Here's something that's sustainable. My intellect, who I am as a person, in my depth. I think as a society, because of commercialism, we don't really invest in that. It's kind of like the flash, youth, firmness, wherever that is. And it doesn't mean that has to end. I've seen a bunch of videos with Sam Eats Plants teaching people how to eat properly. And, we can sustain ourselves a lot longer, which is a whole nother show. We could talk about that later. But it is interesting that everything is based on preteens and people in their 20s, which I wonder with pop culture, does that go all the way back to like the beginning of rock and roll and television?
Or just advertising to that age group.
Well, yeah, but if you think about it, look at it, like a lot of women dress like young girls, and two younger women try to dress like they're older. So you got these preteens and little kids dressing like they're in their 20s. You got older women pretending they're like the Spice Girls or whatever like that. There's like a fixation on this one little era of life, and it's not realistic.
May I offer a reason?
Oh, yeah.
So, because of how marketing, branding, and capitalism work.
So I did right there, yeah. Go ahead.
It is very convenient to create a culture that finds an ideal look in a youthful type of time of your life. So let's say 13 to 28, because it will end and you will still be alive, hopefully past 70. So if you uphold as a culture, as a business, that this is where it is when it comes to aesthetic and how you look and a certain size, then they can market that pill, that injection, this surgery, this makeup, this cold cream, this way to do your brows, this way to do your hair, these dyes for your hair, and it could make so much more money. Let's imagine perhaps if we had a culture where we did not have industry of this, we didn't even have money, right? I wonder what it would then look like. And I don't know, because I've only lived in this type of culture, in this type of way, with TV and advertisements and all that. But I wonder if we would uphold a different type of aesthetic, or even we may model more so people who have aged because of their wisdom, and aesthetic is not so much in the equation. I don't know, though. These are just, questions.
I mean, I think they did do that when they studied indigenous people. I want to say, like, there were some groups in New Zealand or Papua New Guinea, and they asked them what was beautiful, who was beautiful in their land, and they actually showed, like, the strongest or the bravest, not, like, the most aesthetically pleasing. So it does have an impact.
And also, sorry.
No, you go.
And also, you got to think about how we were as kids and in high school. Like, as kids, did we actually think about who's beautiful and who's this when we were in, let's think of it as first grade and second grade?
Oh, I did.
We really...
I was a hoe.
Wait, what?
No, I did. I knew where the chicks were at. Even though I was crushing on the teachers, I knew very early on where the action was at. You know what I mean? The older women, yeah.
But through time, we start developing through the eras or the seasons, because of the fact that I guess society been pushing it into us too much in different decades of our lives. So it makes us think like, okay, this is attractive. Okay, no, then this is attractive. Then when we go to college, it's like free for all. And
Well, I mean, look at it, man.
It's also a marketing tool.
Yeah, the marketing and the cartoons. Let's not forget, the cartoons had it all in there, man.
Yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about it this way. The majority of teenagers to college are the ones that are going to be most absorbed into advertisements. And then they can lead the younger children or younger generations into what they're doing. And then when they grow up, they're not going to really want to grow up that fast. So they're going to try to hold on to their youthfulness. So whether male or female, it's always going to be the specific category, the specific part of their life that they're going to try to hold on to or reach. When you're younger, you feel like, oh, when I'm a senior in high school or when I get to college, you feel like that's the make it part. But advertisement, honestly, is very controlling. They control on what we see, what we think is cool, what we like, just holidays, when we should start decorating for Christmas, or like once they start selling it, we're like, oh, we got to start buying decorations, or we got to start buying Christmas gifts. You don't have to get it as soon as they're like, oh, is this on sale? But you want to get it on sale. So, I mean, it's more so there's a lot of hidden agendas when it comes to commercials, magazines, social media pop-ups. They're watching what we like, see what's our next flavor of the month, because our values are constantly changing because of our consistent worldviews are always changing. We're grown with a specific set of views and values, but everything around us is constantly changing, and we absorb what's around us. So what we think is beautiful today may not be beautiful in 10 years. I'm not going to say it's ugly, but I'm not going to say it's going to be the most beautiful. But that's what I think. I think we are directed to what is beauty.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like, I to both your points around beauty and capitalism, like, I feel like capitalism has really just like escalated all these things, like the marketers, whatever it might be, like. But innately, all humans also or all animals care about beauty. Like, even bugs, into like all these, every creature on Earth cares about beauty to some degree, whether it's like long wings or tails or whatever. Like, aesthetic is always a thing. And then I think tools like capitalism, like these, they make it even more exacerbated because they're like, yeah, they're telling you how much you lack in all these new departments that they've come up with, like all these more niche departments, like your thigh injections and stuff like that.
I'm going to throw something out here. I want all of you to play a little game with me, okay? Are you ready, Yvette?
Sure.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Davion?
As ready as I'm going to be.
Yeah, I'm good.
Ting?
Yes.
Sam?
Uh-huh.
Corey?
Let's do it.
All right, Anne. All right, yeah. So, basically, Rob, here's the thing. Let's just pretend, to Ting's point, where it's natural in the animal kingdom and all that, right? So let's say that's natural, right? So, but when you think about it, it's really all about reproduction. It's about mating. So, do you think it's possible for all of us to somehow separate beauty and only think of it in terms of reproduction? Is there some way to unplug from the matrix and only think in terms of reproduction? Is that possible?
Yo.
That has to do with it. They use that. Marketing is not dumb. And there's a lot of people that spend a lot of money trying to figure out what makes something or someone attractive. Whether it's a female's hips because she can birth a child, to a male's height or shoulder width because he's more of a protector. So you can think of it all in that way. I'm not sure about that, but yes. Can't check in a camera. But there's a lot of things that go hand in hand with, what you can perceive as beauty based off of your future, what they can provide.
And now, Sam, it looks like your ideas almost pumped out of your chest there. Like, what were you thinking?
I'll sit back because it looks like someone else might want to say something first. I'll go later.
She's about to drop a bomb, ladies and gentlemen. I can feel it. I can feel it. All right.
I'm just going to add this. I feel like we're so we so deep in the matrix to the point that if we do try to find a way out, it's more of a reset button.
Yes.
So, that's the best way to put it, because we're getting overloaded with all this information on what beauty is. And any times where we go to the next one where they say, okay, this is not beauty, but just randomly just goes into the deep end and just pick a girl or pick a guy, it's like, okay, forget everything you was taught by society, just go deep in. I think it'd be like a cluster.
Oh, she did it again. Go ahead,
she's
Sam.
gonna
Go ahead, go. Do it, Sam.
It's interesting because I just had this conversation with my father some weeks ago, and a conclusion he was making was not sitting right with me, and I don't think it was sitting right because I saw the truth and I didn't want it to be true. But he did talk about how before electricity, before, over like hundreds of years, in terms of like divorcing yourself from everything and just looking at reproduction, he was like, well, females get their periods at 13, 14, 15, 16. Nature is saying this is when you have children, right? And he also brought up, which I think is more, the other part is more like patriarchal, but so many times in many different types of cultures, the male that was betrothed to that girl child, was older. And it might have to do because they
Horrible timing.
Yes.
Where I'm not sure is this because the patriarchy made sure men were the ones who had property, could make decisions, could have money, and therefore they had to be that much older than the child bride that they were betrothed to. That I can't, I haven't explored. But there is something to be said that this is not new, that youthful women have typically been aesthetically what has been aimed for, mostly by men and probably by some women as well. It may be curated or it might be real, but we do have to acknowledge our biology is telling us that like this young age is kind of something.
You see, Corey, I'm trying to start a fight here, and you're not helping me.
No, that's why I think the adult entertainment industry, those videos are what sell, is because that's just been ingrained in us for so long. It's just a natural part of our society, I think.
And you know what's interesting? And I don't want anyone to be upset with me because I do like anime, okay? I do like it. I just like the ninjas and the fighting and those. I don't like this girly little anime thing because I feel like it's weird. You got grown women looking like they're little children, and you got little children looking like... It's just really weird.
You talking about fan service, bro?
I think, no, it's not... No, for instance, if they look like adults and they made a movie for like adults, then it's fine. But when you're making these little girls look like women, and like these women look like little girls, I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's...
It's not, but it's a part. That's why like a lot of adult actresses who look like children get success on the Disney Channel because they look very, 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 very youthful. And
no, there's a little thing with that because that's a money thing. Because if you're 25 and you look like you're 16, they don't have to. They could sign contracts. They don't have to be in school. It's a little more than that. So I mean, I get that, but what I don't get is, the Spice Girls. Let's really look at it. They were dressing like, I don't know, it's just their fan base was 12. And I don't think, that kind of production is necessarily positive. I don't know, does anyone agree with me when it comes to anime and anything like that? Or you think?
I think it all correlates. That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, at what point do we change the system? And what I mean by that is, it doesn't really matter. If you put rocks in a candy bar and people buy it, people will buy it, right? And they'll keep selling it. But the moment where you say, you know what, I don't want that crap, I just want fruits and vegetables, then that's what will sell. So it's like, you know, I hate when we like blame the system, but then again, we're not doing anything against the system.
We have to also like be very honest with ourselves as human beings. We're not that special of a species. I know we think we are, but we are just mammals at the end of the day that are trained. And there's always outliers on both ends of the bell curve, but most of us fall in that 90%. So, when it comes to changing the paradigm, you are right, Guy. Like, we consume what we're given. This is why we can make really crappy pop music, like super popular, the number one hit, and everyone knows the words, and they hate the song. And we'll hate the song. And we know all the words because we consume what we're given. If you're also like asking, when do we change this and how do we change it? It starts with individuals deciding to unplug themselves from some of these media channels, which is just getting harder and harder. But like, let's say before social media, it was TV. If you're just with that, like, you know what? I'm not watching TV anymore because I don't like the way it's really shifting how I think and see the world and see other people. I'm not doing TV. And I have known people who decided back then, it's different now, but back then to not watch TV or to not have TV. And they walked a little different in their world and like lived a little different in their world because there was so much that they were missing because they did not have those packages that everyone else was getting. And so we can decide that we're special and we can decide that we're smart and we can decide that we're intelligent, but we're just animals and we take what we are given. It takes a lot of work to not do that. And a lot of us don't have that type of time to try to decide, what do I actually not want in here? You know what I'm saying? If we want to change it, we literally have to talk about it all the time because it always will sneak in and I'll walk outside and see an advertisement and I'll see like, hear a conversation, you know, watch a movie and bing, bam, boom, look, these things are here. We literally have to always talk about it and shift how we raise children. It would take a huge community effort and it would be ongoing and we'd never even reach it because we've already been inundated by so much. But basically, I'm just trying to say, how do we change it? We have to like just unplug and we're really not that special and it's hard to do.
I guess the question would be, didn't we try that already and then they just hijacked their marketing and advertisements and gave us the same thing that we wanted to walk away from in a different medium? Like, if we do try to do that, don't you think they're just going to find another way to reincorporate that into our daily lives? And this is what technology has become, and it's only going to get more advanced, and they're only going to hijack us even more. So we know this, we've tried this, and it just doesn't work. So
I don't think so. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
What I think is, like, both of you are right in different degrees. Like, I think that right now there's like a huge resurgence of like moral, ethical companies. And
Allegedly.
It's our like individual duty to like support those companies. And yeah, there are marketers. Like, in fact, for my day job, I'm a marketer and I like to work for what?
No, nothing.
I like to work for companies that I truly believe in their missions. And I know it's like kind of BS-y, but there's better things to support, to put our money towards, like whatever, developing education systems. And there's ways that maybe aesthetic can be more about intelligence and, again, like the things that really matter instead of just physical appearance. And all we can do is just support those sources, like with, by giving them money.
So you know what,
by
Ting,
buying their products.
let me throw something at you there, Ting. Not literally, but you know what I mean. So let me throw something at you. Yeah. Wait, do it again? Yeah, that was cool. I like that. Yeah. So, this is the thing. And I want everyone to ponder this out there in the whole universe watching this broadcast, whatever like that. Sam brought about, basically Rage Against the Machine in a way. makes me think of like personal responsibility. When I think of the youngins out there, now mind you, I'm not the best role model. I mean, I'm a sexaholic. I'm an alcoholic. I've got my issues. But the thing is, when I think of like commercials, TV shows, we do have to pinpoint. This is a very important topic because we see it dipping over into politics. Female politicians not getting the respect or the admiration that the males are getting there, right? That's like an issue. We also, it's like, there's so much suicide and depression, and well, I don't look as good as Jenny, so I don't feel that good about myself. So beauty and beauty privilege, it really goes all the way back to grade school, primary school, depending on what country you're in. It always goes back there, and these children are really affected. So it does make a difference when you build upon that. When it comes to wait, there's like an echo. What's happening? Oh, all right. So no, it really goes. It really affects people in a lot of different ways, which in turn, I don't want to name this R&B singer's name. I don't want to do it, but it's really easy where I'm going with it. There's a very popular guy, and he's very famous, and he had a little run-ins, basically, to underage women and all that. And then as a society, it's weird because he got a pass so many times. And in fact, the only reason why he got in trouble with the law was just Texas. Now, is it beauty privilege? Is it race privilege where one group of young ladies are able to be taken advantage of? I mean, these are all things that are compounding issues. And it really goes back to privilege. It goes back to beauty, allowing certain people to do certain things and others to get away with it and do other things. So I know that got really heavy, but it's like, where do we go and where do we start in your opinion, in all of your opinions, to put this correct?
Earlier he was saying, we've tried it, and I actually will counter that. We've never tried it. We've never actually tried to fully unplug. Like, part of having a different programming or different brainwashing of society is literally having a back to the land type of exodus, quite honest. A true, I have no social media. I don't have a cell phone. I live on a farm. I have no TV. We doing this all over again. That is the only way. We haven't had an effort of actually trying to have a different type of a different way of seeing aesthetic, youth, and marketing and branding of such. What we have done is reform it, almost like the police department. All we do is reform, but never really change the root. We've never actually really tried to unplug from this stuff because it's too easy. To unplug is difficult, and that's real freedom, but freedom comes at such a cost. And freedom, not all of us are willing to pay the price of what true freedom is. And then, if we could do that, then we'll actually feel like what we will actually do as a group of people, a society, or this little colony here and this little community there, how we would actually build up our morals, our values, our visions, and our ethics.
All right. So, gentlemen, now is because I feel here we're talking about, we're using the words beauty privilege, but it's really, I guess, self-worth and somehow creating a sense of worth based on perception of other people. I am better than, he is better than, she is less than, or wherever it is. So, gentlemen, and then ladies, you respond to it, of course. How do we unplug? How do we change things? How do we change that narrative? or do we even bother? It's a part of life. Corey, you go first.
I'm going to say it's a part of life. Like, everything you said is possible, but the probability of that happening is very, very low. I say that because before technology, we've had these issues. With technology, we have these issues. As we're evolving as a society and a people, it's only going to get worse. So I don't see us in the foreseeable future having such an impact that all of that changes.
All right. So screw the children. Forget it. They gotta suffer the rest of us, basically.
We can give it the good old effort.
I like that. All right. And Davion, what are you thinking there?
Same thing he said, but like I said, it's just a matter that we're in too deep to the point where we can't officiate the whole situation. So it's just going to be an ongoing, like Corey said, ongoing trend of cycles.
All right, there. Ting.
I think technology is a tool, just like fire was a tool, just like metalwork, like all these things are tools that enable us to live the things that we as animals feel. Unfortunately, like, I think beauty privilege is part of that. Again, I think attraction in general is like already something that all animals feel. And it's not just sexual, like, you know, like the penguins that mate together even if they don't have sex, like the male penguins, like it all that matters is attraction. And I think we don't have to be scared about the tools. We just have to be like aware that, to Sam's original point, we just have to be like really aware of the privileges that we do have and where we sit in like the entire structure. Just being aware of all these things that we talked about is the only thing we can do.
All right, Sam.
I don't think it's all lost. I know the gentlemen were like, we're in too deep. But I feel that is in a much more mild way, like a little defeatist. There's always a possibility, and I think, as Ting was saying with the whole, all these things are tools, absolutely. I think what we could possibly do with those tools is, over the decades, start being more value conscious. Maybe what we should teach, full disclosure, I used to run a homeschool cooperative, and way we saw education and what we instilled in the children had a lot to do with how we decided that the vision of the world should be. And that came in part of how they were taught. So I think one of those things we could do, piggybacking off of Ting, is use the tools we do have now and understand what our vision should be or what we want as a community for our vision to be. If we can see our vision, we can decide today, how do we raise that 2-year-old? What do we say to that 3-year-old? How do we dress that 4-year-old? You know what I'm saying? It literally takes a whole lot of work. And I always say at minimum 1 generation. So a good 20 years, a good solid 20 years. And that would still just be very difficult. But I think it's always possible to change it because things change like this all the time in our history. One person, one leader, and then all of a sudden people follow this person and then stuff changes. So it can, but it's work. And we need to not be scared of the work. And we need to put value in the work. And we need to make it seem like this is work worth doing.
And Yvette, well, I would like you to get closer to the camera because, everyone, you see their big head and you know.
Oh, well, that's because I'm little. But,
and also, you know what, Yvette, also add to whatever you're about to say, because I do think it's interesting because you're in the entertainment field and you know about smoke and mirrors. Like, you live it, you work with it. Like, it's a part of your life like everyone else, but it's also a part of your business.
Yes.
So I'm super interested in what you're going to say there. Okay,
well, I'm so sorry, Sam. I kind of have to agree with the guys with this. And the only reason why I'm going to agree is because if you really think about it, we want to make a difference. We want to make a change. We want to do better. But then we're also deciding for the next generation. So them growing up is going to always essentially be like someone else is deciding for us. Someone else is teaching us this someone else is manipulating the way that we think and how we see things and what we think is pretty and so it's going to be an ongoing cycle. I can tell you, I can walk into a room and I'm dressed up in heels and I'm wearing my dress on the red carpet, and me telling somebody that I play basketball, they look at me like, you play basketball? There's automatically this assumption that a quote unquote pretty girl in heels on a red carpet would never dribble a basketball. But I do this as if I like go to parks and I tell them I have next, and I go with my crew. Like, they're a bunch of guys. I'm the only female. They're not accustomed to that. And there's so much quote unquote stigmatism to, you know, being pretty doesn't equate to being athletic, or being athletic who is going to be, I'm not going to say most female athletes are not pretty, but it's rare, right? So like, there's a lot of things that there's always an assumption, and there always is a prediction to what is expected. And by placing already a foothold on saying, like, we can make a difference in someone else's life, for the 2-year-old that's going to be a 20-year-old, is all we're doing is moving those morals to our own personal morals and not allowing them to have their own. So then their views are going to be construed by what we set them in regardless. So we're always going to be manipulated on to what is actual beauty.
Absolutely. But yeah, but I you're absolutely right. When we raise children, it is to our manipulation. Like, that is raising children. It's programming, it's brainwashing, it is. And, you know, and this is where, like, we can, I shouldn't say get it wrong or get it right, because everything is, there's no right or wrong. It's just how we move and how society accepts it or doesn't accept it. But I think that one of the things I've been seeing, just touching on Ting again, just saying how, like, everything is a tool and how we use it. It is very nice to see, you know, black nerds on television now. It's very nice to see, like, wicked skateboarders, female skateboarders on television now. And I'm bringing this up to say, if we dispel and consciously do this, using the tools of 2020, the internet and all that, and we consciously start showing the layers that we are as humanity, as time goes on, as the decades go on, we can actually then brainwash new generations to have less of these assumptions based on aesthetics. And I would say, even just living in New York City, a lot of things have been worked out of my mind, because a lot of people who were very unique or eccentric where they were from, they moved to New York City to express themselves. And I find that working in the West Village, I can't make assumptions because people are always breaking them. And so it has made me think what we need to do using the tools we have is to show very rounded versions of all types of humanity. And I think as we raise more and more children, we can actually soften those edges of what they assume from just looking at somebody. I don't know.
I think that's fair, but I also think that there's an innateness part of that. Like, you can't tell what someone is going to be attracted to. I don't think you can teach that. That's just something that's ingrained. And I think that that's always going to be a factor of how we evolve. I don't know where I'm going with that comment. That was just something that I thought of. So I just want to put that out there.
I understand. I know. So, for example, like my nephew, when he was before he turned 1, was super attracted to my teeth. They're super white and pearly, so he always wanted to grab it. And I understood why. It's because our teeth are naturally supposed to be white and pearly. Like, that is what it comes out to. Eventually, after time, it wears out. So, we are attracted to what we are not naturally supposed to be. Naturally supposed to have, naturally supposed to look like. There are variations of what everyone's natural looks like. And some people, like, I don't have straight hair. Some people love straight hair. Some people like big hair. And that's not going to change. So, like, some people like no hair. So, you know, it all depends. It all depends on...
Can somebody throw a pie at guy for me?
Yeah. But it really just, you know, there are certain things that we can, I guess, manipulate in everyone's worldview of what is considered pretty and or beautiful. But there are some things that we are not going to be able to. Some things might remind us of our father figure, or, oh, that person reminds me like my mother or my brother, and that creates like this, wow, they're attractive because, not because of their prettiness, but because they remind me of this.
All right, so for a positive note, we're going to change it up a little bit there. A quick question, a little commercial break. Socks on or socks off? Go first, Ting. Socks on or socks off?
Socks off.
Sam?
Ideally, socks off.
All right, you there.
I'm a ditto that. Socks off.
No, God!
Socks off.
Please, no!
Socks off.
No!
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, socks off.
Yes.
Socks off.
All right, Davion, you're on your own there. What is it?
Ah!
Are you gonna join the bandwagon?
Socks off.
Conformist.
Yeah, I see it.
That sounded painful. That sounded painful.
Yeah, that sounded really painful over there with your Funko Pops. Yeah.
Ah.
All right, so next thing, the last section there, I just want to say relationships. Now, we talked about it from a society standpoint when we're talking about beauty, privilege. But when we swirl it all together, what is your view on this when it comes to relationships, Ting? Beauty, privilege.
Okay.
It's hard for, like, dating has been a little tough because a lot of people care about aesthetic, but I have found that is a very good way for me to find the partner I am looking for, because the people who don't give a shit about that and care about the things that I value as well find me. You know what I mean? We find each other and then we're cool. So you'll find, as long as you like are honest about the things that matter to you, I feel like you'll find someone who hopefully reflects that. And if you care about appearance, you will in turn as well, find someone who cares a lot about appearance.
I want to say that's like a reversal dunk, and that is actually brilliant. It's like, I don't want that. I don't care about that. And if I stay true to that, I'll find that. I like that. All right,
It's true.
Sam, what's your take on as far as relationships, beauty, privilege?
I agree with Ting. I was having a conversation with somebody just recently, and it was about, if you go into trying to meet a partner, a possible partner, with going in trying to look a certain way, the person that will be attracted to you is going to value you in that way. And so how you approach meeting somebody will attract the person that you will attract the person within that approach. So if it's going to be a bit more stronger in aesthetic, maybe a certain type of makeup, maybe a certain type of in-style clothing, you're going to attract somebody that values that. So if that changes, the relationship will start being rocky. If that was the thing, that glue, that kind of like, ooh, I like this person. If it's something where you just happen to be having a conversation and there's like a certain thing that's in common, and all of a sudden like, ooh, well then it's not really necessarily the aesthetic in that moment, maybe part of it, but maybe not the stronghold. And whatever you put out is what you get. And so yes, it seems like people who are aesthetically pleasing will have a more, let's say, options, but it may not lead to the most happy or healthy or communicative or trustworthy or loyal relationship. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
All right, yeah.
So I'm gonna agree with you guys. I just have to add the fact that it actually adds, or being so concerned with the beauty aspect adds a lot of insecurities. You're adding your insecurities to a bucket that's already difficult in finding somebody for a relationship. So if you're concerned, now mind you, I know people who have been in relationships and their significant other has never seen them without makeup on. Now I think that's super strange.
What's their number? No mind.
What's that? Shanti's number that she sings. Anyway, so having that as I always wondered, like, how does that work? Like, they wait for their significant other to fall asleep. They get up, they wash their face. They wake up before the significant other to put their makeup back on. I'm like, isn't that a struggle? Then what is so what don't you love about your significant other that you can't love about yourself?
Hey, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question on that. Are they significantly younger than these men, and are these men wealthy?
Wealthy, no. And not older.
That's interesting.
They're younger.
Wow. Didn't expect that.
They just have this whole persona that's all they saw. So that's what they want to continue to deliver, which makes being in a relationship so much more complicated.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that, I figured, well, it goes back to, and we'll do a whole show on this, because I think it's important, but like a whole show on like treating yourself like an object. You know what I mean? Because it almost goes into object territory. And, you want to be that, whatever that is. What is that thing? For years we started to call it like the Kardashian thing. Not to say I don't know what they do in their personal life, and I don't really care. But, it's like this whole, like, there's a look in the last decade of, Sam, you mentioned it with the butt implants and the boob job and this and that and makeup, all, to the nines and everything when it comes to that. And that's interesting. Wait a minute, Yvette, do they sleep? Because it doesn't seem like they get much sleep. Well, I mean, if they gotta make sure their lover goes to sleep and make sure they wake up before. I mean, wow, I respect that gangster.
Not for me.
I respect.
That's a hustle. That's
some real stuff. Do they work? Do these women work?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow.
Like,
I was like, what happens when you get sick? Like, what happens if you, like, there's just one, you're just gonna be hospitalized. They're gonna be like, that's I don't know who that is.
like, I had a question. Is that like a scar from high school or some type of, like,
I honestly don't know. I don't know them that well. I just heard them talk about that, and I was like, that's actually a thing.
Like, I think that is a thing. I think it's a universal thing. I think there are some people who get confused with the aesthetics and the personality, and they get so caught up in being in a relationship, they get so happy that they have somebody that they forget that personality could lead to the attractiveness and make it more intimate. They just see somebody and just go full throttle. I think people do confuse those things that we were talking about.
I will say, like, a true story. My first roommate in college, she would not walk out of the dorm without full makeup, to the point where she will miss a class if she woke up late. And if she could have made it on time, if she just, like, went, she's like, I can't go without makeup. And I think it's you said something about, like, happy in a relationship. See, that's the problem. You need to be happy.
Exactly.
And then sometimes you're in a relationship and sometimes you're not. And those people who have a higher level of feeling more value within a relationship, I think, can be prone to doing things not super true to them, their actual values, because unfortunately they didn't learn to just be content, period.
Or it could have been like a trauma, like they could have had a lot of abandonment issues or something else that makes them feel like they have to be with somebody because they can't be alone. Maybe they just don't know how. There's a lot of reasons that can go into that.
Too much reality TV. You know what I mean?
And with why like they're not content. You know, whether it's trauma or not, they're not content. Because if you're content, then you're not happier in a relationship.
See,
you
but
are
that all becomes how do we determine when someone is content?
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
That can make them happy.
Exactly.
So, I
That
mean,
is-
they seemed happy. So
they probably are happy putting the makeup on so people don't see even their significant other.
yep.
But that's the thing. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, to me, it's like if you're in a
that's a
relationship with
diagnosis.
somebody, you supposed to accept who they are in and out. So, I mean,
Some people use makeup to express who they feel that they are inside too, you know? So it might even be that where, you know, that person was doing it just to feel more comfortable in their own skin. And, you know, that's cool. Whatever makes people happy. I agree with that sentiment. Whatever makes people happy, like, they should just go and do that thing. Whatever makes them feel like themselves and whatever.
Because then we're like, oh man, that's crazy. And then they're like, what do you mean that's crazy? It's crazy. You don't think this is normal. So it's like, it goes.
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
not because, okay, there was a video, and it's a cartoon, and it was comical, where somebody did a moment where this girl slept over the guy's room, and he happened to realize, yo, where's such and such? Who are you? Like, without the makeup. Like, who are you? And she was like, such and such. And he was like, no, you're not. You look like some dude that dresses up like a woman. So it was like, it was funny, but at the same time, it was like, how can you not know that's the same girl?
No, this is interesting because we're talking about looks and perception. I have to end on a positive note because it does get really dark and everything. So let's say one night or a lifetime. So I want each of you to think of a celebrity crush and pick one celebrity for a one night stand and one for a lifetime that you'd actually marry, in theory. All right, Sam, you go first because you're having you're croaking over there. I love it.
So why? The crush, celebrity crush, that would be like a lifetime idea in my head.
And a one night stand.
Al-
It's two. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so Aldous Hodge. You know who that is?
Yes, Age of the Geek. He's also an Invisible Man. Aldous Hodge is the man.
Invisible Man, Underground, City, whatever. City on a Hill. You just look him up, Aldous Hodge. So he's my crush lifetime. The one night stand, I think The Rock.
I normally would do it if The Rock is cooking, but I'm not doing it.
If he's cooking, that's funny.
How you spell his first name there? Eldridge, what was it?
Aldous, Aldis, Aldous Hodge. He played on Leverage. He was just in the recent Invisible Man movie. Yeah, he's going.
He was in
yeah.
Oh, Hidden Figures. Also.
Hidden Figures, yes.
Yeah.
All right, there. All right, Yvette, what you got there?
Sorry, I've been thinking this whole time. Long term. No, I don't even know. Long term. No, would that be? This is a good question. I guess one night would be Tom Hardy.
You broke her. She's buffering.
Because I've never thought about this before. And I don't even have one for long. I don't even know long term.
All right.
I go based off of personality, so I don't know them. But sense of humor, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh my God, you're my favorite girl.
All right there, Ting, what you got there?
Oh my god, this is the hardest. Can I pick someone who might not be into me, like Elton John or something? Like, can it be like Freddie Mercury? I feel like Freddie Mercury is my lifetime. Yeah, Freddie Mercury.
Interesting. Aye. And
I don't
one
know.
night. Yeah.
One night. Miley Cyrus. I'd be interested in a one night stand with Miley Cyrus. That's it.
Whatever makes you happy, right?
Right? Yeah. You don't question it.
Great choices.
Thank you.
Interesting. Corey or
Corey, go first.
what you got there?
Oh man. Whew. All right. Long term, Rosario Dawson.
I hate you.
One night stands got to be Rihanna.
I hate you. We're thinking
For
the
one
same
night
thing.
stand?
I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
think
think
Really?
she's
No, I take
your
that back.
type
I
chick,
take
though.
that back.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Because really, the one night stand would be Rihanna and Rosario Dawson.
Oh wait,
Both of
you
them?
would do it in the
2
reverse.
for 1?
Yeah,
Huh?
you're flipping it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Rihanna
well,
probably couldn't last like a whole relationship, but
Like, me and Corey think a lot of when it comes, well, somewhat alike. But
she's too free spirited. I think she'll enjoy like the moment and like that's it. But for relationship aspect, I don't know.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
think my answer is the same for both people actually.
yeah.
That would
Because
be
it's like,
that would be no. I mean mine would be Janice from Electric Mayhem. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She's older, she's hot, you know what I mean? Do you even know who that is?
No?
Ting, do you know who that is? You need to Google it.
Yes.
Oh, you do know? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm agreeing with you. But I also agree with Rihanna. Those are good.
Yeah, you know what? You need to Google it.
notice
man.
how nobody said Beyonce.
You need to Google it, man.
She
What was her name?
she's in a league of her own. I don't know. Like,
What was her
like
name?
God tier.
Oh,
I don't even
Janice.
think it's the-
Her name is
yeah.
Janice from the Electric Mayhem.
I don't think Rihanna's a god. It's just God tier. I think she.
No, I said Beyonce. Beyonce. That's why no one said
I mean-
Beyonce.
I mean Beyonce. Sorry. I don't think she's a
I know
god
that.
tier.
You see what I'm saying, Corey? You see where
I
I'm
do
going
know
with it?
that. Yes.
You
Yes.
see where I'm
Good
going with
choice.
it? Yeah.
I think even with the big hype about Beyonce, I just never got into the hype. I'm sorry.
Should I show the picture?
Oh, yeah, go for it, man.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wrong one. Where'd it go?
I just
Yeah.
Google.
What were
I
you
ain't
watching
gonna-
before the show, man?
I
Oh.
could see that work. I could see that.
They. Yep.
Look at those lips, man. Look at those eyes. Yeah. Yeah. Perfection. You don't know anything about that. No.
I'm going to.
All right.
I was going to say something, but I'll tell you
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, tell me. So everyone, give your social media, and I'll give Guy Whitcam's 2 cents. All right. So let's start with Sim.
Sam eats plants _
Yvette.
It's Yvette Morales. My Instagram is Yvette Mary Morales.
And Ting.
Ting at TINGUU. Follow me today.
And Davion.
Davion at Davion Bussy, and also the Jamal Williams Show.
All right. You got space for one man. All right. It's one per head over there. And then we got Corey. He's gonna say
Corey
something
on-
and all the tings. Watch. What's he?
Yep.
He's gonna do it.
You can find me, Corey, IMGT3 on all of the things.
All of the things.
All of the things. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. During this time, we realised that it's really up to you to rage against the machine. What we've learned from this broadcast is that beauty privilege is something that is not going to go away. It's something that just is. But we've learned from Sam that we got to do what we could possibly do. So let's do it. Let's do it each and one and do it for the kids. Yeah. I feel good about that. Alright, thank you very much for joining the show. I'm going to play some music. And you're watching Ask Guy. You see what I did right there? Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Bye now. Say bye, ladies and gentlemen. Say bye. Yeah.
Doodle.
Adios.
Bye.
Peace.
I hope they learn something when watching this show. Yeah.
It was a good time.
You know, it's interesting. I never fade out on the show. I just kind of like stop it abruptly because, you know, I need an intern for it. You know, this is, I need hands. You know what I mean? I mean extra hands. I mean I have hands, but I mean like extra.
So you're talking about Goro from Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.